Just two words, not enough. But man, they hold so much pain, don't they? It's just such a deeply human feeling. You know the drill. You're sitting alone at night, the glow of your phone lighting up your face, and you're scrolling through social media. You see the highlights, right? The victories, the perfectly filtered moments of everyone else's lives. And it is so hard not to compare our own behind-the-scenes, messy struggles to their polished public highlight reels. You look at where they are, and then you look at where you are, and that quiet, nagging voice just whispers that you're falling behind, that somehow you've completely missed the mark.
And, well, it really starts when we look out into the world and see people who just seem so perfectly aligned with what they do. We watch them completely seamlessly step right into their talents. You know, like some write. They sit down at a keyboard or grab a pen, and the words just flow out of them, like breathing. They weave these incredible stories and articulate thoughts with such ease that it just leaves us in awe, wondering, how on earth do they do that?
Then, there are those who sing. You've definitely seen them. It's that effortless grace of someone who is just undeniably meant to be on a stage. They open their mouths, and this sound comes out that can literally make a loud, crowded room go completely pin-drop silent. It isn't forced at all. It isn't strained. It's just who they are. It's like it's woven right into their vocal cords. And some dance. We watch the fluid, just totally captivating motion of those who can express every single human emotion just by moving their bodies to a rhythm. They glide across a floor with this certainty, this physical intuition that honestly seems almost magical. We watch them and we just think, wow, look how easily they navigate their space.
And hey, it's not just the arts, right? Some people naturally build businesses. We see that sharp, hyper-focused energy of people who can just command a boardroom, who naturally lead these big presentations. They can look at a really complex problem and instantly know exactly how to organize a team to fix it. They just have this kind of structural gravity, pulling ideas into reality with pure confidence.
And there are those who heal people, bringing deep comfort to the sick. Those who inspire massive crowds with just a few spoken sentences. Some create beautiful, moving art right out of blank canvases. We witness all of these totally unique gifts out there in the world, just radiating so brilliantly. And then, then we look back down at our own hands. We look at our own lives, and we just wonder why things feel so much harder for us.
But there is a really profound truth we have to accept here. You cannot compare your skills to someone else's and decide you are not enough. I really want you to take a breath and just let that sink in for a second. Measuring your own worth against someone else's perfectly curated path, it is a painful, exhausting trap. When you look at the writer or the dancer or the business builder, you are looking at people operating fully in their natural element. If you aren't in your natural element yet, comparing yourself to them isn't just unfair to you, it's factually incorrect. It totally distorts the truth of who you actually are.
Which brings us to the next part of our explainer, the fork and the spoon.
I want to share this really gentle, beautiful metaphor with you. It's incredibly simple, but it has the power to completely shift our perspective away from those heavy feelings of failure. So a fork is amazing until soup shows up, and a spoon works beautifully until noodles arrive. Let's picture this together. Think of a beautifully crafted silver fork. It's sharp, it's effective, perfectly designed for its task. But then, a bowl of broth is placed right in front of it. Slowly, painfully, the fork tries to pick up the liquid. It dips in and comes up completely empty. The soup just slips right through the cracks. Now imagine a smooth, beautifully polished spoon. It works flawlessly until a plate of long, tangled noodles arrives. The spoon tries to grab them. It tries to pierce them, but the noodles just slide right off, falling back onto the plate. You kind of feel this empathetic disappointment here, right? We can almost feel the struggle of these objects trying so hard to do something they were literally never made to do.
And this brings us to a really critical question. Does that make the fork useless? Think about it. Just because it cannot scoop the soup, because it fails entirely at that one very specific task, does it mean it has no value at all? Of course not.
And what about the spoon? Does its inability to pick up the noodles make the spoon a failure? When we actually look at it this way, we can see how heartbreakingly absurd it is to judge something outside of its natural element. You would never throw away a perfectly good spoon just because it couldn't eat spaghetti. You wouldn't call it broken. You would just say, okay, this is the wrong tool for this meal.
And here is the crucial realization. Different purpose, different strengths. I really want you to hear this and take in the comforting wisdom it intends. The utensils are not broken. They aren't flawed. They are not falling behind. Their purposes are simply fundamentally different. A fork's biggest strength is a spoon's weakness, and vice versa. And honestly, that is exactly how it is supposed to be.
And here is where we connect this beautiful realization back to humanity, back to you and me. Different paths do not mean less worthy, and different strengths do not mean less successful. If you've been struggling, if you've been feeling like you're constantly pushing a massive boulder up a hill while everyone else is just flying past you, I want to assure you with absolute sincerity, struggling in the wrong arena does not mean you are a failure. It might just mean you are standing in the wrong room. Actually, it might just mean you are a fork, harshly judging yourself for your soup-eating abilities.
There's a saying that perfectly captures the heartbreak of this struggle. A fish would feel like a failure if it spent its whole life trying to climb a tree. Let that imagery really sit with you for a moment. Imagine the sheer exhaustion of that fish, the self-doubt, the feeling of being not enough, day after day, just gasping for air against the rough bark of an oak tree, while the monkeys swing effortlessly above. The tragedy there isn't that the fish is untalented. No, the real tragedy is the immense amount of energy spent trying so incredibly hard to be something it simply isn't.
So, what's the answer here? Well, it begins with a really beautiful, empowering shift. Number one, discover your purpose. We have to stop forcing the wrong fit. Stop looking at the dancers, the writers, the business builders, and thinking you need to perfectly mimic their rhythm. Instead, just gently turn your focus inward and discover where you naturally belong. Where is your water? What are you naturally designed to do? And then, number two, become extraordinary at being you. Because once you find your element, you can pour all of that energy you used to spend comparing yourself into simply being the most vibrant, capable version of yourself.
If you are sitting there right now, watching this alone in the dark, and wondering if you actually have something valuable to offer, I want you to know I am speaking directly to you right now. The world doesn't need your copy, it needs your purpose. We already have the people who sing, we already have the people who dance. The world does not need you to be a watered-down version of them. It is waiting for the specific, totally unique, irreplaceable thing that only you can do.
So as we bring this explainer to a close, I want to leave you with one final thought to carry with you into tomorrow. Whenever that heavy, isolating feeling of self-doubt starts to creep back in, whenever you look at someone else's highlight reel and you feel that familiar, painful sting of falling behind, I want you to just pause, take a deep breath, and ask yourself this one simple question. Am I really failing, or am I trying to scoop soup with a fork?